In a small, peaceful village in England, where everyone knew each other, lived an old man named Pie, who was both solitary and mysterious. A quiet village in the English countryside, shrouded in early morning mist, with cozy little houses. Mr. Pie is walking alone in the early morning. An old cobblestone street with villagers chatting, gentle sunlight, a scene of the English countryside. An ancient cobblestone street with villagers chatting, soft sunlight, a typical scene of the English countryside. Mr. Pie walked alone to the small market in a bustling country market in England, where people trade animals and the atmosphere is lively. Old Man Pie appears at the market, where villagers gather to buy, sell, and chat. In a village market in England, farmers and villagers chat and laugh merrily, and the stalls are simple and rustic. Old Man Pie slowly walked into the bustling market, and everyone turned to look at him. An English farmer was leading a weak, emaciated foal that struggled to stand, its body thin and its eyes sad. The farmer had to hold onto the foal's neck to guide it along. The horse was dragged away by the English farmer and tied to a wooden post in the dim light. A close-up of the sickly, emotional, and fragile eyes of the foal. An English farmer is selling the horse. The old man approached and decided to buy the horse. Old Englishman Pie gently stroked the weak little horse, a touching moment. The horse seller, a portly Englishman, looked confused as the old man handed him the money, and said, "Give me as much as you like." The English villagers stared in disbelief as they witnessed the sale. People in the small English market burst into laughter, pointing at the old man, accusing him of wasting money on a dying horse. A group of Englishmen were jeering and whispering to each other. The old Englishman remained calm amidst the laughing and talking crowd. Leaving the English village market, the old man led his frail young horse along the country road. As the sun sets over the English countryside, casting long shadows and a range of emotions, the setting sun evokes a sense of wonder. Old Man Pie, with his white hair, walked slowly, his hand gripping the horse's reins, along a dirt road in an English village. Flowers and grass swayed gently in the breeze, creating a peaceful atmosphere, but his heart was heavy because the horse was so thin and weak. Old Man Pie bought authentic English milk, then gently fed the foal extra milk, grass, and grains, creating a warm and pleasant appearance. Every day, he cared for the horse with all his love and patience. Mr. Pie, a true Englishman, always had affection for animals. He always treated them like friends. He cleaned the horse of parasites and bathed it, taking meticulous care of it. Many nights, in the stable, an old Englishman named Pie was tending to a sick horse. Resting, he prayed for the horse's speedy recovery. Compassion for animals was paramount. In a stable in a small English village, the weak horse laid down, breathing slowly. Despite the horse's dire condition, the old man never gave up hope. Old Man Pie, a lonely but kind Englishman, sat beside the horse, holding its head. He whispered in its ear, "Keep trying, little one." The scene, illuminated by candlelight, was filled with emotion and hope. Mr. Pie, an Englishman, gazed at the horse. His eyes slightly narrowed. He was contemplating a certain prospect. The scene is a time-lapse video, from sunrise to sunset, set in an English village. Mr. Pie is carrying a carton of milk into the horse stable. In the stable at English village, the foal slowly tried to stand more steadily. Mr. Pie seemed more pleased. Joy was clearly visible in his eyes. He looked at the horse as if to say, "Keep trying." In the stable, the old Englishman, Pie, looked at the horse and smiled with satisfaction. "Lucky you. I'll name you Brown Horse, because your brown coat is starting to show." The foal ate the hay with more vigor, and the Englishman, Mr. Pie, had eyes full of joy, for the horse was beginning to eat better and stand more steadily. He whispered that the future would be brighter. A veterinarian arrived at Mr. Pie's house in a wooden horse-drawn carriage to check on his sick brown horse. According to the veterinarian, the English horse was now doing better in the sunshine. Walking in the pasture in the sun helped the horse absorb more vitamin D3 and increased its calcium levels. An old Englishman named Pie was observing the horse with a proud expression. He said, "Brown horse, you're quite good. You could make a war horse." The horse's coat became glossy and healthy. The horse grazed peacefully on the English meadows. Its glossy brown coat stood out even more in the sunlight. The brown horse's hooves moved rhythmically like a tango. Before training, the horse looked weak and thin. After training, it became plump and had a glossy, dark brown coat. It's truly a miracle, not to mention a wonder. The brown horse strode confidently across the small meadow in an English village. Mr. Pie thought he would make the brown horse a beautiful set of reins, with lovely patterns. The villagers in a small English town watched the horse from afar in the meadow, and they began to notice a strange change. They talked about Mr. Pie. The people in the small English village said, "We don't understand why he bought that horse when it was already so big and strong. Perhaps he had a particular fondness for horses and animals in general." The villagers in the small English town were astonished, whispering and praising the brown horse profusely. They called it a Trojan horse, a majestic creature. The villagers in the small English village looked at each other in amazement. They also discussed what they could learn from him, having seen old Pie take such good care of his horse, Brown, turning it into such a healthy animal. A strong, brown horse was galloping freely across a meadow in the English countryside. "Look, a huge, strong horse, like Hercules," exclaimed a villager. Several other villagers looked in that direction. With its strong muscles and bright eyes, it truly embodies the spirit of a Manchester from the English hills. Seen from below, the horse is tall and majestic, with a broad chest and an incredibly endearing white streak. On the meadows of a small English village, a brown horse walked slowly. A gentle breeze blew through its mane. It looked up at the sky and neighed, as if welcoming a new day. The horses galloped across the vast fields of England. Not only was the brown horse strong, but it also ran faster than any other horse in the village. Some people watching from a distance were glued to the brown horse. Blur effect, motion. As horses run across a field in England, only the brown horse surpasses the others. With its large stature, the villagers look and point at the brown horse. Surpasses the others. With its large stature, the villagers look and point at the brown horse. A stadium scene, sporting flags, posters featuring horses, a striking glimpse of the race at the English stadium. The horses, numbered from 1 to 8, Mr. Pie's brown horse, number 8, looked tall and strong, with a long, glossy mane, shining brightly in the morning sun. The English people were numerous. Robert Hooke, an English nobleman, about 60 years old, arrived in a luxurious carriage pulled by a white horse. Hearing the news, he offered to rent his brown horse to Mr. Pie. Mr. Pie agreed, with Robert Hooke receiving 30% and Pie 70%. 1. A conversation between an English nobleman and an old man named Pie, an English citizen. They discussed bringing the brown horse back to the city to participate in the All England horse race. The horse was being examined and cared for by Dr. Andrew, a professional veterinarian from the English capital. Dr. Andrew asked Mr. Pie about the horse's history, and Mr. Pie told him the truth about the brown horse. The veterinarian nodded and said, "Good." The list of horses numbered 1 to 8 in the race adds to the drama. Horse races are held regularly in England, so a detailed list is essential. The nameplates are posted at the stadium entrance. People from distant villages also flocked to participate. The crowds cheered loudly. For the villages and towns of rural England, horse racing was a good thing. Close-up photo, brown horse number 8, ready to start. 8 horses are lined up side by side, numbered from 8 to 1. Some people are placing bets. The brown horse number 8 had spectacularly overtaken its rivals. The stadium was located in a small corner of the British capital. As the brown horse, number 8, galloped ahead, leaving the other horses far behind. The entire stadium erupted in thunderous applause. Horse number 8, Brown, continued its gallop, spectacularly overtaking its rivals, and now leading by a considerable margin. The commentator excitedly praised Brown. Fantastic. Number 8. A real feat. Hooray. Number 8. The entire stadium in England erupted in applause. The crowd was astonished and amazed to see the tall, sleek brown horse outpacing the other horses. The English villagers cheered and applauded loudly. Those who had once mocked him were now silent. The villagers of the small English town, some cheering, others bewildered, for they had previously called Mr. Pye a madman, were all silent. Some of the English villagers where he lived, who had previously suspected and thought Mr. Pye might be mentally ill, are now witnessing firsthand what is happening. People in his hometown are quietly observing the old man. He just smiles, because he knows they are simply thinking the truth. In the small English neighborhood where the Santos Asmis villagers once mocked Old Man Pye, they now bow their heads and whisper to each other. Our understanding is so limited. At a racecourse in a corner of the English capital, they murmured to each other, we are the fools. He is the one far beyond our comprehension. We are the naive ones. The old Englishman, named Pye, had kind eyes. He simply smiled and said, every living creature deserves a chance. Everyone was astonished to hear him say that. Mr. Pye's keen eyes observed the brown horse and the English people in the arena. He silently thinks that everything in life has its good points, if you know how to seize them. And Mr. Pye smiled warmly at the people of the small English village. A warm sunset scene over the lawns of a small English village.